If you're a Porsche enthusiast, you've probably heard of the infamous IMS bearing issue. The IMS bearing is a small but crucial component in the engine of certain Porsche models, and it has been known to fail, causing catastrophic engine damage. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the IMS bearing, what it does, and why it has become such a hot topic among Porsche owners. What is the Porsche IMS bearing? The IMS bearing supports the intermediate shaft in the engine of certain Porsche models. The intermediate shaft connects the crankshaft to the camshaft, and it is used to drive the camshaft and other engine components. The IMS bearing is a critical component in this system. Why is the IMS bearing such a big deal? Although an intermediate shaft has been an integral part of most Porsche engines for many decades, certain Porsche models have most recently been plagued by IMS bearing failures. Where earlier Porsche engines with intermediate shafts used oil pressure-fed plain bearings, M96 and M97 engines used from 1997 through 2008 in Porsche Boxster, Cayman, and 911 models utilized a sealed ball bearing instead. When this IMS bearing fails, it can cause catastrophic engine damage that can be very expensive to repair, that often requires a complete engine rebuild or possibly even engine replacement. To make matters worse, the IMS bearing is located in a difficult-to-access area of the engine, requiring transmission removal, which can make it even more expensive to repair or replace. In some cases, Porsche owners have reported spending thousands of dollars on IMS bearing repairs, which has understandably led to a lot of frustration and anxiety among Porsche enthusiasts. What can you do about the IMS bearing issue? If you own a Porsche that is at risk for IMS bearing failure, there are a few things you can do to minimize your risk. One option on models where the IMS bearing is serviceable, is to have the IMS bearing replaced with an upgraded aftermarket bearing from Ellen Engineering, such as the IMS Retrofit or IMS Solution. The latter replaces the factory ball bearing with an oil pressure-fed plain bearing like earlier Porsche engines and permanently solves the Porsche IMS bearing issue. Another option is to perform regular oil changes along with an engine oil filter, sump inspections, and a used oil analysis, which can hopefully help to catch any IMS bearing issues before they become catastrophic. If you notice any issues, it's important to stop driving your car and have the engine inspected by a qualified Porsche specialist right away to determine if the IMS bearing has failed or is failing. On 2006 and later models with the larger, non-serviceable 6305 IMS bearing, the grease seal should be removed from the factory IMS bearing to allow the engine oil to properly lubricate the intermediate shaft bearing. As the engine must be completely disassembled to replace this bearing, it is recommended that this action is taken to extend the life of the original 6305 IMS bearing. The Porsche IMS bearing issue is a serious concern for many Porsche owners, but there are steps you can take to mitigate your risk. Whether you opt for an upgraded IMS bearing or simply stay vigilant with your engine maintenance, it's important to take this issue seriously in order to protect your investment and keep your Porsche running smoothly for years to come. Call or visit ellenengineering.com to learn more.